Hey everybody, welcome back to Football Talk with Vinny, and obviously in today's video, we're just going to go over the New York Jets offseason. So obviously with the New York Jets, a lot of transition this offseason, right? Again, that's to be expected. You hired a new head coach. The GM has only been there for, I believe, about 2 years now, so he wanted to change things as well. And boy, did they change things. So obviously in free agency, the two biggest signings were Corey Davis, the wide receiver from the Tennessee Titans, and then they also were able to sign Carl Lawson, the defensive end from the Cincinnati Bengals. So obviously those are the two biggest moves, and again, you needed help at wide receiver. You also need to get help on that defensive side of the ball, so those are very good moves as well. As for the rest of the signings though, they did get guys like Tevin Coleman, the running back, Sheldon Rankins, the defensive tackle for the Saints, Tyler Kroft, the tight end from the Buffalo Bills actually, LaMarcus Joyner, Dan Feeney, an offensive lineman, and that's just to name a few guys. And again, you are a very young team. The Jets obviously have embraced the fact that they are going to have to rebuild this roster. So again, you signed a lot of players, right? You get a lot of new guys in there. And again, you just want to increase the overall talent of the roster. Now, obviously the big move as well was the decision to move off of Sam Darnold and trade him to the Carolina Panthers. Now in exchange, you got to believe like a second and a third round pick for him. So not terrible compensation, but not great. But again, everyone knew if you were going to take Zach Wilson second, you were going to trade him. So it's tough to ask for a first when they know you're going to trade the player. Now again, I've been on record. I understand the move, but I think Sam Darnold is still a capable quarterback. But I certainly understand the move. Again, you bring in a brand new head coach, so maybe you just want to reset the whole organization, get a new quarterback in there, a new face of the franchise, and kind of, just restart everything. And hopefully the Jets do for Zach Wilson what they unfortunately did not do for Sam Darnold, right? He was never really surrounded by good talent, and unfortunately, he was, I believe, still a good player, just playing for a bad organization. So hopefully the Jets don't do that to this new guy. Now, obviously, in the draft with their first pick, which was the second pick overall, they did take Zach Wilson, the quarterback out of BYU. They actually moved up a little bit to take Elijah Vera Tucker, who is supposed to be the best guard in football. So that's great. You're going to put him on the left side of the line with Mekhi Becton, and you're going to have one of the youngest, and hopefully, if they both are good players, one of the best left sides of an offensive line in the NFL for years to come. And it doesn't stop there. They had a lot of picks in the top 100. So in the second round at pick 34, they were able to take Elijah Moore, a wide receiver. Again, help out that wide receiving core. Give Zach Wilson some weapons to throw to. And then really to finish off, it's not a top 100 pick, but at 107, they were able to take a running back. Now, again, like I said, usually I try to focus on just the first 3 rounds because those are the guys that really start. But a running back taken in the early 4th round, he's probably going to end up being the starting running back for the Jets, actually, unless he just is really bad in training camp. And then again, like I always do, I'm just going to round out the rest of the draft. So they did take Jamin Sherwood at pick 146, who is a linebacker. They got Michael Carter, a corner, at 154. Jason Pinnock, another corner, at 175. Hamesha, can't really pronounce that. He looks like he's a linebacker at pick 186. They also took Brandon Echols, another cornerback, at 200, and Jonathan Marshall, a defensive tackle, at 207. So obviously, if you look at that, they went really heavy on the defensive side of the ball, and particularly the cornerback position. Now again, the reason why I try to focus in on the top 100 draft picks is most of the guys taken after the 100, it's really even tough for them to even make the roster, let alone contribute onto a team, let alone be a starter. But again, just focusing on the first 100-ish picks, those first 4 picks were all offense, right? It was quarterback, offensive lineman, wide receiver, and running back. So again, you're trying to surround your quarterback now with the weapons to be successful. So obviously, at least from the standpoint of the way it looks, is they are going to do a much better job than what they did in the prior regime under Adam Gase with Sam Darnold. Now that the offseason moves are all talked about, let's go over the actual cap space and what's going to happen. So they actually have $15 million of cap space for this year. Again, you're not really going to use any of that, but the reason why it's important to know is because any unused cap space for this year is going to roll over into next year. So again, for next year, their projected cap space is $73 million. So you would obviously add the $15 million. So they're at about $89 million of cap space they will have for next year. Now, obviously that's important because as a rebuilding team, you want to be able to have a lot of cap space available, because next year, right, you'll see some of the young guys play, and you'll see maybe some areas in which the young guys don't develop as quickly as you might have hoped, and then you can use that free agency the next offseason to address some of those positions to really fill out the rest of the roster. Now, as far as the season goes, again, it's kind of like the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're not really going to be expected to make the playoffs, right? Of course, I think at this point, if the Jets win 5-6 games, I think everyone in the Jets organization and also the Jet fans will be happy that they're at least turning it around and you can start to see some progress. So again, I don't really want to spend too much time on what their regular season hopes are, because again, 4, 5, 6 wins, and as long as you're showing improvement, kind of like Jacksonville, will be a good season. So it's really going to be about next offseason for the team. I know obviously as a fan you want to watch the games, but in terms of obviously competing for a championship, it's all about hopefully seeing Zach Wilson become a good quarterback, because we see it all the time nowadays. Rookies can come in and have phenomenal seasons their rookie year. And obviously seeing the rest of the team, just as a whole get better talent-wise. And again, if you win 5-6 games, it gives you hope going into next offseason that with the salary cap space you have, you still have a lot of draft picks for next year, right? You're going to be able to fill out some holes that you saw this season, and really maybe next year you can see, them competing, trying to get into the playoffs. Because again, there's 7 teams now that make it. All in all, even though I wasn't a fan of trading Sam Darnold, because again, I think he's a good player, I think the Jets had a very good offseason, right? Probably one of the best in the league when you think about where they were at last year. Again, starting was like 0-11, 0-12, something like that before they got their first win, to where they are now, where they have hope, right? If you're a Jets fan, you really do believe that, obviously you're probably not going to make the playoffs next year, but you can see the team getting better, and you can see a direction where the team is headed. But that's going to be the end of this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, if this is maybe your first video watching of this series, and maybe you're not a fan of the New York Jets, but you are a fan of another team, I'm going to do a video of all 32 teams. So if by the time you're watching this, all the videos are out, make sure to check out your specific team. If not, obviously, make sure to hit the notification bell. This way you're notified every time I post a video. And when I do post your favorite team, you're going to be able to watch it as soon as it's out. But again, that's it for the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked it, make sure to hit the like button and also subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.